This kid was poor and mocked by his classmates for not having enough money, until one day he found a black check, wrote $1 million, and became rich overnight, buying everything he ever wished for. The movie opens with 11-year-old Preston Waters. He lives with his parents and 2 older brothers who constantly bully him. His brothers have taken part of his room to store a computer for their small business. Preston's father, Fred, openly supports his older sons and asks Preston to compromise, which makes him mad as he always gets less than everyone else. It's Preston's friend Butch's birthday, and then all the kids visit an amusement park. Preston only gets $10 from his father and ends up watching his friends enjoy the roller coaster while he is forced to ride the lame merry-go-round. He's bullied and mocked by the other kids for being poor. Though Preston's family isn't exactly poor, his father is extremely cautious with money and wants to teach his kids the value of saving, which means Preston never gets to enjoy much. But what happens next will shock you. The next morning during breakfast, Preston's older brothers leave for a baseball game. Preston wants to go too, but doesn't have enough money for a ticket. His father explains that if he wants to have fun, he should save money. Preston argues that without any money, how can he even begin to save? Just then, his mother hands him an envelope from his grandma, a birthday gift, which turns out to be a blank check. Preston finds it useless, as no amount is written on it. His father takes the check and writes $11 on it, saying that it's enough for a kid. Preston argues it's too little, but Fred claims that if he saves it, it could grow into $1 million. Doubtful, Preston checks to see if it's true, only to realize it would take over 300,000 years for his $11 to turn into $1 million. Disappointed, he realizes he won't be rich anytime soon, but still wishes for a house and a lot of money by his birthday. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Quigley, a con artist who has just escaped from prison. After escaping, he goes to an abandoned building to recover $1 million he had hidden before his arrest, money he stole earlier. The problem is the bills are marked consecutively, meaning the FBI can trace them back to him. To solve this, he visits Biderman, the president of a local bank and Quigley's former partner in a money laundering operation. Quigley demands that Biderman exchange the marked bills for a new, untraceable $1 million. Biderman is hesitant, but complies when Quigley threatens his family. Quigley instructs him to give the money to a man named Juice, who will arrive the next day. Elsewhere, Preston visits the bank to open an account and cash his $11 check. A beautiful bank teller named Shay informs him he needs at least $200 to open an account. Smitten by her beauty, Preston promises to return once he has enough money. As he heads back, Butch sneaks up on him, snatches the check, and rides off. Preston tries to catch up but ends up behind Quigley's car and crashes his bike. Quigley, legally obligated to pay for the damage, panics when he sees a police car nearby and quickly hands Preston a signed blank check before driving off. At home, Preston tells his parents about the accident and his broken bike, but not about the blank check, and is grounded for a week. That night, he decides to fill in the check for $1 million, making up a random name on it. The next morning, he returns to the bank. The bank teller thinks he's joking at first, but takes him to President Biderman when she sees the check's value. Biderman sees Quigley's signature and assumes Preston is Juice. Preston begins to lose hope in his plan, but Biderman brings out the money and fills his bag with it. Preston, stunned, takes the money and runs. On his way out, he bumps into the real Juice. Fortunately, Juice doesn't think much of it and lets him go. When Juice later meets Biderman and reveals that he's the real Juice, Biderman realizes he's made a huge mistake, but it's too late. They can't report the issue to the police, as the money was illegal in the first place. Preston returns home and starts searching online for houses. He finds one he likes and calls the realtor, using a robotic voice on his computer to sound like an adult. He ends up buying the house for $300,000. When asked for a name, Preston glances at his computer and says, Macintosh. After the call, he celebrates. He now has everything he ever wanted. Meanwhile, Quigley realizes he's lost all his money and blames Biderman, but then remembers the blank check he gave Preston. They begin tracking Preston by visiting local toy stores and amusement parks. On the other hand, Preston is living the dream. He buys a limo and instructs the driver, Henry, to pick him up. Henry thinks he's being pranked, but Preston pays him generously and Henry becomes his personal chauffeur. Preston tells him that the car belongs to Mr. Macintosh, a millionaire, and that he's just an employee to avoid suspicion about his spending. Henry takes him to every mall in town. With seemingly unlimited money, Preston buys new clothes, TVs, video games, toys, and everything he's ever wanted. He even gifts Henry an expensive watch to thank him for his help. While driving back, Preston sees Shay jogging. She remembers him as the kid with $11. He tells her he's earned a lot of money and will visit her soon. After Preston leaves, Shay meets with a man in a van, revealing that she's actually an undercover FBI agent investigating the laundering operation. The next morning, Fred prepares to leave for work but finds several moving trucks blocking the driveway. He goes outside and is shocked to see Preston directing workers and acting like he owns the place. Preston explains that he works for Macintosh, who just moved into the neighborhood. He orders all the workers to clear the path for his father. Fred, amazed, drives away. In time, Preston finishes furnishing the house. It now has a racetrack, multiple inflatable bounce houses, a video game arcade, and a swimming pool with a slide going from the office. Quigley, Biderman, and Juice continue their search for the kid. Their only lead is a CCTV picture from the bank. News spreads about a new rich man, McIntosh, moving into the area. Shay, suspicious about McIntosh, who has no public records, decides to visit. She finds only Preston and is told that McIntosh is busy with meetings for the next few months. As Shay leaves, Preston asks her on a professional date. She declines at first, but agrees when he says he's McIntosh's financial manager. Later, Preston asks Henry for dating advice. Henry says that women like strong men with a lot of money. Over time, Henry becomes Preston's best friend. Preston's family still thinks he's just working for McIntosh. Fred doesn't want him going out on a date, but Preston whispers that he could pass along Fred's proposal to McIntosh. That changes Fred's mind. That night, Preston and Shay go out to a fancy restaurant. Preston gifts her a necklace, claiming it's from McIntosh. He even asks about her dating preferences, pretending McIntosh wanted to know. After dinner, they play in a water fountain. However, Quigley and his gang spot them. Preston quickly gets Shay to race him back to the limo, and they drive off. Before dropping Shay off, Preston invites her to a birthday party for himself and McIntosh on Saturday. She agrees, hoping to finally catch McIntosh. The next day, Preston hires a party planner who charges him $10,000. She plans an elaborate dinner and intends to profit heavily. Later, Henry leaves to spend time with his friends, and Preston, now alone, gets bored. He visits the park where Quigley and the gang spot him. A chase begins, but Preston escapes. Biderman jokes that stealing another million would be easier than catching a kid. When they're about to give up, they catch Butch and force him to reveal Preston's name and address. That night is also the birthday party. As decorations are set up, Preston's brothers tease him, calling Shay a gold digger who's only there for money. Hurt, Preston asks Henry for advice, and Henry explains that some people are only nice when you have money. At the party, Preston isn't allowed to open any presents, as guests are waiting for McIntosh to arrive. The food is fancy, mostly for adults, and Preston is disappointed. He expected pizza and ice cream. Meanwhile, Shay and the FBI confirm that McIntosh has no criminal history and suspect he's using a fake identity. They prepare to arrest him at the party. The party planner hands Preston a $100,000 bill. Shocked, he checks his bank account and realizes he has spent nearly the entire million in just 6 days. Only $332 remains. He tells the party planner that McIntosh is missing and she won't be paid. Furious, she tells everyone the party is over. Guests leave, taking their gifts. Preston is left alone until Quigley, Biderman, and Juice arrive. They catch him and demand the money. Preston explains that he spent it all, but they don't believe him. Biderman suggests that Quigley assume McIntosh's identity, but they fear Preston might expose them. Preston manages to escape and uses the house's features, the slides, arcades, and traps, to his advantage. Eventually, Quigley catches him, but the FBI surrounds the house and arrests Quigley, Biderman, and Juice, believing Quigley is McIntosh. Shay reveals her true identity as an FBI agent. Preston is heartbroken that she can't be his girlfriend. To cheer him up, Shay kisses him on the cheek and tells him to meet her in 10 years. After leaving the house, Preston meets Henry. As they say goodbye, they part ways as friends. Back home, Fred and the rest of the family surprise Preston with a birthday cake. When they ask him to make a wish, Preston realizes he already has everything he wants. His family. Simplicity is always better. Like and subscribe for more recaps like this.